In realms long forgotten, there are tales of the Forest Kingdom, a place of honour and chivalry, known to some as the Land of the Purple Dragon, but known to all as Cormyr.
Hi, I'm Theoda, and I'm playing Hiram, a half-orc paladin.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Cassie Donahue, human bard.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm playing Badger, a forest gnome monk.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Balthazar, a Warforged Cloak of Azuth.
Hi, my name is Elle, and I'm playing Slate, a changeling druid.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm playing Zombo, who is a halfling rogue/warlock.
And my name is Dan. I shall be the dungeon master on this adventure. Hello everyone.
Hello.
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 How are we all doing?
Pretty
good?
good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, great.
Good. I will accept nothing less.
Fantastic.
Shall we crack on with session 3?
Yes, please.
We
Do it.
I think we should just jump straight to session 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how that goes on. Having left the strange place that is the World Serpent's Inn, the Warhounds find themselves under the luscious canopy of the King's Forest, busy fulfilling their first mission assigned to them by the surprisingly gentle pit fiend Tarkalon. What would seem like an easy job, clearing out forest bandits, has turned out to be a somewhat more difficult dilemma. Upon discovering the bandit camp, our heroes have discovered it to have once belonged to Raedran separatists, slain by some unknown foe. With a map to a nearby Raedran base in hand, the Warhounds find themselves facing a precarious decision when a squad of Loyalist soldiers, led by the Lionar Caven Tor, stumbles across them, surrounded by the bodies of countrymen and women now considered enemies. The pressing question: will the Warhounds declare for king and country, or not? And we pick up where we left off last week.
There's a reason I'm away from the group. Oh, so should I just...
Nope, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Wait
So-
there.
You find yourselves emerging, potentially somewhat sheepishly, from the bushes at the edge of this small makeshift camp. And in front of you are a number of 8th Regiment Purple Dragons, led by a Lionar who has identified himself as Caven Tor. And as you emerge, he kind of looks to you all and raises an eyebrow slowly and says, Is this your doing?" He says, looking at the corpses and bodies lying around.
Owlbears, yes. The Raedrans, no.
He looks to all of you and, like, seeing that you're not lying, he that's interesting. That's unfortunate. There is a somewhat of a sizable bounty on these rebels. The they would have made you a surprising amount of gold if it had been yourselves.
Zumbo's gonna visibly kind of sort of start with this go. Well, obviously, we didn't check them to see if they were alive when we got here, and now you can see they clearly ain't. So, maybe us turning up finished them off. I don't know. I mean, the owlbears ain't going to need the bounty, so we're happy to take it.
Caven smiles and sort of chuckles at the somewhat kind of macabre idea that's been put to him. And well, unfortunately, we can only pay the bounty to those who perform the act firsthand. And as you've quite rightly pointed out, these owlbears are, and he kicks the owlbear in front of him, like in the flank, and it kind of rolls ever so slightly. Yeah, these owlbears don't appear like they'll need it. Are you? And he looks at you. You don't strike me as hunters of any sort. You strike me more as adventurers.
We are we are adventurers. We are with the Warhounds.
And as you say that, you notice the purple dragons kind of looking to each other with kind of raised eyebrows. Surely you jest, says Caven. The Warhounds? The Warhounds?
Not sure about the D, but we are part of the Warhounds, yes.
Yeah, Katya, sing him the song again.
She's like, maybe not the time or place.
Bodies around.
But yes, we are the heroes of Hullock, the heroes of the, of the Silver Swords and all the other accolades we've been thrown at. But yes, we are they.
You notice that Caven kind of visibly relaxes as you kind of confirm that you are in fact Warhounds. Well, the magnitude of your deeds helping the rightful king onto the throne is it's tantamount to legend. These are tales that we happily speak in camp and back in Suzail. You have our greatest thanks for guiding this country onto a road of peace and prosperity. And he sort of like smiles and looks around and, well, perhaps it would be more difficult to assume that it wasn't you that struck down these pesky traitors, but given that you are here, you didn't happen to find anything on them. And he sort of like, he's looking at some of the bodies a bit more closely. It would seem that perhaps these owlbears weren't the ones to have dealt the final blows.
Yeah, I reckon whoever got here before the owlbears did must have taken everything.
He looks around and I noticed all of the supplies are still here. This does not seem to be the work of bandits or orcs or anything like that. Was there anything of interest that you found?
Katya gives a look to Badger and Hiram with a sort of a raised eyebrow, sort of like, are we going to or not going to?
Yeah, Badger sort of narrows her eyes slightly in reply and kind of does an almost imperceptible shake of her head and looks up at Hiram.
Yeah, Hiram is shaking his head too.
I'm afraid not, Master Tor. We found nothing of interest at all.
And the Lionel kind of nods. Nods, and well, fair enough. At least we've been saved the trouble of dispatching these rebels ourselves. So, well, given that you are the heroes that you are, I won't keep you. in case you are staying around in the area, the troops under my command were currently stationed at the Stagstead. It's a small hunting lodge, not too far from here. Any of you who are any sort of like points off in a direction, Slate turns to you all, and like there's a look of acknowledgement, and sort of like it's clear that Slate knows where this place is. If you ever need yourselves of a warm bed and a roof over your heads, we would be more than happy to have the Warhounds stay with us.
That's very kind of you, thank you.
Yeah,
And
much obliged.
While we have you here, we have not been in contact with Cecile for a while. We had things to sort out in Arabelle. I was just wondering, we were not aware that the Purple Dragons are hunting the Raider sympathizers quite so actively.
Well, I mean, it's yes, we are. The king has decreed that such a slight, all of these purple dragons, they've broken their oaths to the crown, and the king does not suffer such insubordination lightly. We've had multiple reports that the separatists are plotting some sort of coup. Perhaps they seek to dethrone the king before he has a chance to cement himself as Cormyr's rightful monarch. But we have good intelligence that they are spread out throughout the King's Forest, and with few places to run, it seems prudent to nip this rebellion in the bud.
I see.
And he smiles, but don't worry. For the general common folk of Cormyr, the Raedrans would be quite a threat, but lauded heroes such as yourselves, they would be a breeze to tackle.
And just in case we were to come across any more of these, treacherous swine, what kind of bounty would the king be offering? Just out of interest.
For every marked tabard, for every identifying tag, purple dragon tag from a rebel soldier, the crown is paying the grand total of 10 gold.
10 gold, you say, for each one? Ah, that's
for each confirmed rebel kill.
Right. Well, we'll certainly bear that in mind.
It's good monies to be made, ensuring the safety of these lands. So, and he nods, and well, my men and I will stay here to deal with these. He says, and he kind of gestures his hand across the bodies. It would seem that the local wildlife has already started investigating themselves, and we don't want any trouble for the local villagers. So we'll dispose of these, and you can be on your way.
How will you dispose of them?
He looks around, and well, the gear that's still in good condition, we'll take that back to the garrison, and I suppose we'll burn the rest.
Oh, I just thought that they may be traitors, but they're people with families.
Yes, but if the rumors are true, there are some war wizards among the Raedran numbers. Would you believe it? And with the power of the war wizards, who knows if there's any sort of devious necromancy that they might employ to bring these warriors back from the dead. We can't afford that risk.
Oh, okay. And Badger sort of turns to Balthazar and says, Balthazar, do you understand the importance of laying the dead to proper rest, don't you? Did the gnomes teach you about that?
So DM Dan, is the war wizard not the war wizard, sorry, the purple dragon looking at us at this point?
He's currently got his back to you, and you can see him sort of like directing the troops over to the various
so
bodies.
he's
And like
not-
you can see him, and he's like pointing at
So
a helmet,
he's
going,
not
"Yeah."
paying
no."
attention to us.
He's not paying attention to you at the moment. No, he's got no.
Yeah.
In that sense, he's got no
Okay.
reason to.
Balthazar will try and whisper, oh, that sounds like. Go. I'd rather not speak in front of them.
Oh, okay.
Just something the gnome said. I guess it would be nice if they got buried, but I guess they have a job to do.
I wish one of us knew how to perform final rites. Doesn't sound like they're going to get any otherwise.
Yeah, that would be nice. Can we leave?
Yeah, that would be wise.
Yeah.
I think
So-
we've overstayed our welcome.
So with that, as you kind of make your way past the purple dragons, you notice that there are genuine looks of admiration upon the soldiers' faces as you kind of squeeze past them a little bit awkwardly, and sort of as you get to the edge of the clearing, and any of you that turn to look over your shoulder, you see Caven Tor kind of with this trusting smile on his face as he bids the legendary Warhounds farewell.
This is really uncomfortable.
And
Oh.
yeah, during that whole conversation, Balthazar was kind of hiding behind Hiram, trying to make himself as small as possible.
Yeah, Balthazar,
bad.
what did the gnomes say about being around purple dragons? Anything that we need to be aware of?
So I haven't been completely honest with you. Well, I haven't told you everything I know, which isn't much, by the way. But
That's fine.
from what I understand, the war wizards, basically, I'm a war wizard project that they were working on, and they told me that they won't be too happy to see me. So, I thought it best we just run away from the purple dragons.
Okay.
Suits me, lad.
Yeah, just in case any war wizards show up, they might just take an interest in me, if that makes sense.
Okay, we will keep that in mind. We'll try to keep you away from them.
Like the gnome said, I'm a piece of Cormyrian military equipment.
Ooh, okay.
So that's kind of why it's a bit awkward.
Can't keep them away from you, at least obfuscate them so they'll be distracted by other things rather than you.
Okay, yeah. I hope that doesn't bother you guys.
It's not the worst we had, trust me.
Cat is sort of looking off into the middle distance, like.
So,
No, carry along.
as you kind of make your way away from this little camp on the forest path, Catcher, I believe it's you that has the map.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you've managed to kind of make a way from the camp with what appears to be a map to the Raedran base. It doesn't take a high-level wizard to figure out that the base on the map is most likely the one that Caven Tor was referring to, that they were kind of looking for. And through Chiron's pointing an explanation, you realise that this camp isn't actually all that far away.
Now we
Oh,
know...
you're muted.
Am I?
No, you're good. You're good. Sorry, my bad.
Now we know what we're looking for. What's our plan here, guys? I mean, It seems we know that these are Raedrans and not bandits. What's our intention?
I'm new here, so I don't really have an idea.
It's a complication I was not expecting, I'm not going to lie. Any ideas?
We have to talk to the Raedran sympathizers. We've had the loyalist, the status quo point of view, but we need to talk to the Raedrans about their plan. Maybe there's some way to navigate through this. Maybe we can help.
That's if they don't
Yeah,
attack on sight.
my worry is that if they recognize us this quickly, the other side is also going to know who we are, and they're not going to be happy to see us.
True.
I don't
Although,
think.
they don't know all of us.
That is true. That is very true.
Zumbo.
Yeah.
Zumbo, you didn't sell them out. You didn't tell them about the map. Why's that?
Well, obviously, I'm new here too. I'm here to watch you, and I don't want to. Young Iram here has been doing a grand job of leading you. I don't want to make a group decision on my own. Figured we'd better talk about it and see. I mean, 10 gold pieces per Raedran sounds like a lot to me, and obviously, single-handedly winning a civil war, that's pretty good for a chap's reputation. But that's a decision we've got to make together, isn't it?
Perhaps.
I mean, are the other side going to be happy to see us? And I doubt they're going to offer us money, right? Even if they are.
Maybe not
I don't
us.
think they have a lot.
No. But they probably wouldn't know you, or Balthazar, or Slate, in one of their various forms.
Slate
I
turns
also
round.
want-
Oh, sorry.
I also want to say that we are here for a job. We probably should finish.
If we do need to sneak in, I do have a couple of costumes in my bag. I can disguise myself a little. I might be able to sneak in.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
I don't know if there are any blue dragons helping the Raedrans, but I might be able to get in using my coat. And if not, you all saw the trick I did with Betty earlier. I can try that again.
how about this? Why don't we go where the map showing that they should be, see what the situation is like from afar, and then we can decide what we want to do.
Plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, in which case, so are you all happy to follow Chiron's directions to the map location? Okay. So, yeah, the map itself, this kind of deep into the King's Forest, whilst there are patrols of loyalists going through the vast woods, you could very easily hide within this place. It's just there's so many kind of natural nooks and crannies and ledges and streams. Yeah, realistically, only if you knew where you were going, you'd be able to find it. But using the map, you eventually you can see the trees starting to thin out slightly as the ground underneath your feet starts to bank up slightly. And almost on this kind of very shallow hill, if you will. The trees thin out, and ahead of you, you can see what appears to be a stone-walled fort. And as you stand on the edge of the forest, stand on the edge of the clearing. Let me just reset that. You can see that atop the palisades, the stone palisades of this fort, which doesn't look like it's in the best of states. You can see that there are a number of purple dragons kind of standing watch and looking out. You notice that whilst this is clearly marked as like the Raedran camp, the purple dragons on the walls are not wearing tabards with a red stripe across them. But there also doesn't look to have been any sort of conflict.
So what's the
What do you
plan?
do?
Are we still hidden in the tree line?
Yeah, you're far enough back that these purple dragons don't know that you're here.
Well, Katya, what disguises exactly have you got on you?
Well, I mean, I can either go with a minstrel, I managed to pick up sort of a noble's costume, or just general urchin ragamuffin.
A minstrel, perhaps? You're accompanying this worthy captain?
She
Yeah,
rumbles in a bag and brings out a bright, colourful, sort of multi-checkered, diamond checkered sort of costume.
I was thinking we could offer, I could offer to lend them some naval support. See if that'll, I'm still technically a serving officer in the Blue Dragons. They might buy it. Might get us in. How far away are we from the sea, Dan? My geography of Cormyr is not that great.
I mean, you're not close.
No, so
There's-
it's probably not that likely that I've walked
Yeah.
from the
there's
coast.
If you
Okay.
have walk, you've gotten mighty lost.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe scrap that idea then.
You could say you found me, and like I'm here to help.
If you're comfortable with that.
Sure.
You're
I guess.
a former sailor who's looking for work off the seas and further inland. I'm your travelling minstrel, and you're delivering. I'm sorry to say this, Balthar, but you're delivering a weapon for the resistance to use.
Sure.
Maybe we find out if they are resistance before we.
Yeah,
we say
I
that.
was about to ask, is there a chance that Badger could take a better look from above? How good are you with climbing trees and heights?
I am great at trees, Hiram. I'm so glad you asked. I lived in a tree for years.
Do you want to take a look?
Okay.
Okie dokie. Yeah, there are more than enough trees and treetops around to get a much better look. In fact, as you kind of clamber, you all watch as no need to roll. As you watch as Badger clambers up a tree, just kind of disappears into the leaves up above. Every so often you'll just see a flash of red or yellow as she kind of skips between the tree branches. And Badger, you kind of make your way up to this very tall tree over here, and as you sort of like stand on a branch and peer out, you can see over the walls. I'll move you inside just so you get an idea.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can see over the walls into the keep. So on the other side of the walls, you can see like a watchtower, but with some purple dragon blades posted in it, and they're roughly at the same height as you. You can see some more purple dragons talking in the courtyard behind them. Just over that, you can just about make out what appears to be some purple dragons on a training ground, like attacking training dummies, with one purple dragon with their arms behind their back, kind of seemingly shouting orders. There is a large stone tower that kind of dominates the center of the keep. You can see a larger courtyard to the south of the other two, which seems to hold the vast majority of the larger tents within this fort. And at the far end of the court, you can see a second larger tower, this one in somewhat heavy disrepair, and a lot of the tents seem to be kind of cloistered around it. There seem to be crates and barrels of supplies and whatnot. So perhaps this tower is forming some sort of command center, if you will. And
Okay.
yeah, that's what you make out from your vantage point.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna. Well, while I'm up here, I'm gonna see if I can discern anything from where I am about who these people are. Are these definitely Raedran separatists?
If you give me a perception check.
Yes. Okay. Oh, come on.
I've got a backup plan if that fails. Oh, okay.
It failed.
So from where you are, you can't. Like, it's difficult to. I mean, purple dragons kind of look like purple dragons.
They all look the same.
But yeah, so you make it back to the rest of the group
How
to report your findings.
far away are these guys from us, approximately?
I mean, realistically, they're probably about, I don't know, 60 to 100 foot, wherever. Like, there'll be places up to 60 foot that you could, still be in cover.
Yeah, I just relay all that information and the fact that it was difficult to tell from this distance whether they are Raedrans or something else.
Okay. I'll need to get 30 feet to do the backup.
Okay. Well, 30 feet, like, if you go to 30 feet, you'll be able to do that, but they might then spot you.
Could Katya try and sneak to one of the sort of trees?
Yeah,
Or
that
something.
would be a good thing to do.
Yeah, so you sneak in?
Yeah, she'll sneak into as close as she can get.
Okay. So if you roll me a stealth check.
Oh, for God's sake!
So what was that roll?
It's an 8.
That's an 8. Okay.
Exactly the same.
So as you, what are you wearing, by the way?
Well, I mean,
Did you go for one of the costumes?
did we decide on that plan anyway before we started having a look at who they were?
I think we were talking about it before Badger went to look.
I think
Yeah,
before Katya would go off to do what she did, she'd make sure the plan was in place first.
So Katya's suggestion was that Zumbo pretend to be an ex-soldier looking for work, not declare which side he's happy to work for until we know.
Yeah.
And offering Balthazar as this high-grade military tech that could help their cause. And you're our sort of, you're my sort of minstrel / herald.
Yes.
Okay.
So she would have changed into the minstrel's kit and used her disguise kit to put on her black wig again.
Okay.
Should we have Slate in spider form on Balthazar?
Ooh, good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Slatey thing to do.
Slate. Yeah, Chiron will happily become a spider and rest on your helmet, Balthazar. So, poof.
Here's one of the things I don't know about the Warforged. I don't know if they can feel, like, touch.
You'll be able to feel it on the wooden parts.
Okay, interesting. So there's feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so Katya, you're kind of creeping forward into the bush. Zumbo, are you staying behind? Like, Katya, are you acting as Zumbo's forward scout? Or?
Yeah, she doesn't know if what she's about to do will work after a conversation with Slate, but she wants to at least try something. So she sneaks off, being a little cryptic, but she sneaks off, letting everyone know where she's going. And if she's caught, she'll obviously sort of like, verily, hello, sir.
So as you kind of creep forward. You're in a minstrel outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So
imagine this like yellow and green diamond outfit, but not with the big jingly hat, because that would be ridiculous.
There's no bells. Okay.
Bells.
Disappointing.
So as you try your best to like creep up to the bushes, and
Imagine
as
she's
you
sneaking like, why did I change first?
as you get to sort of like the bush that you're aiming for, and you think, oh, and then you kind of poke your head out to see if you got away with it. You notice that one of the purple dragons is just looking dead at you. And like from this distance, like this purple dragon's close enough. And like you see she turns her head, and she sort of like, you hear her kind of say something. It's a bit too far away to hear exactly what she said. And then you notice the other purple dragon kind of looks over in your direction, and the two of them are just looking at this green and yellow diamond minstrel hiding in a bush.
She stands up. She stands up and is like, I mean no harm there, sirs and madams. I'm just I was just making sure that what we were looking at was indeed what we were looking at. And as she sort of steps close enough, she looks to the dragon or the supposed dragon on the wall, and she really focuses on him and casts Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
To which her nose bleeds a little as she does.
So these. Okay, so just for reference, so they're on top of these walls. The walls are about 15 foot tall. They're old, they're unkept, they're in heavily disrepair. Like up close, you can tell that this place isn't a maintained Purple Dragon garrison in any way, shape, or form. Like the most recent additions appear to have been the spiked log barricades, for example. Even the door looks a bit rickety. The doors themselves don't kind of marry up slightly. They're kind of off angle. But as you cast Detect Thoughts and you're focusing on it, yeah?
Yeah, focusing on the one closest to her.
So what does that?
Detect-
so the surface level is like there's almost like a sigh, like who is this? And so what can you do when you go deeper?
You probe
Let's make
deeper.
a
The target
wisdom
with a wisdom saving throw. You gain insight to any reason its emotional state and something that looms large in its mind, such as something that it worries over, loves, or hates.
Just be aware that they're going to know you did that. According to the rules as written.
Yep. See if I push deeper, yeah.
Okay, so do you still want to push deeper then?
Mainly what she's looking in is for the surface thoughts to, try and find out if they are Raedrans.
Okay, so in that case, there's a bit of a sentiment followed by almost like a wash of relief.
As she sort of approaches forward, like, my lord, it is as we hoped, my lord. She says as she wipes the sort of blood from her nose, like.
Sorry, Dan. I missed the Cole. I missed the bit about their response to Raedran.
Well, it seems
There
that
was
they
none.
are.
Oh.
Yeah, there was none. There seemed to be relief that we aren't something. So.
Oh, okay, fine.
The assumption is that it's relief we're not Raedrans. At least
Okay,
that's
cool.
my take on it. But yes, my lord, it is as we hoped. Step forward and make yourself known. And she starts strumming on her lute, a jaunty theme.
Yeah. So Zumbo, who's been preening himself and kind of smoothing out his coat and trying to wipe some of the owlbear blood and dirt off it, strides confidently forward and takes his hat off and gives an elaborate bow. All right there, Captain Zumbo Marifat, formerly of the Blue Dragons, at your service.
Detect Thoughts is still going, right? It lasts for a minute? Yeah, it lasts for a minute. So the surface level on the... as Zumbo strides forward, the surface level 4 of the dragon that you've detected thoughts on it's almost like there's a confusion, like a bewilderment, as Zumbo as you stride forward. And the female dragon kind of looks down to you, and I'd appreciate if you did not approach any closer. This is a purple dragon garrison, and it is off limits to civilians and commoners.
Well, I'm clearly not either of those, so I'm here to help. As it happens, I've got something I think you might be interested in. Katya, tell them what we got.
My master here, Mr. Zarafat, was pray me be honest with you, sirs. We was hoping that the place was devoid of any real organised military, as we have the most valuable of weapons to be used in the upcoming fight.
Two dragons. You notice the two dragons glance at one another. And what's that you've got? Says the dragon. And she notices presumably this lumbering shape behind Zumbo.
Yep. Walk past.
The male dragon pipes up and did you fish him out the sea? Did you?
Story is you should have it, sirs, that when a group of heroes was fighting in the streets of Sazale, such a creature did indeed fall into the ocean. My good companion here, Mr. Marifat, a man of the nautical persuasion, was able to retrieve said object and bring it here to you, good sirs, for use as to how one would fit.
Aye, and a more potent weapon of war I hadn't seen before or since. I saw this beast kill a clubber giant tentacle as big as me to death with just that staff he's holding. Fearsome it was.
Really a terrifying sight. Still have nightmares.
Yeah.
Balthazar, what are you doing?
Just standing still.
Okay.
Just kind of looking at one or the other. Yeah, that's it.
Hiram, Badger, is there anything that you're doing while this little pantomime's going on?
Just staring, going.
Hiram?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be not seen and keeping Emily in place as per usual.
Okay. So, in which case, first off, I'm going to request. See, I would argue that is not entirely the truth. So let's have a deception check from Zumbo and Catcher as you spin your tails. And
Oh.
Okay, 17. So, you two roll a collective of 17 and they roll a collective of 13. So, yeah, the male purple dragon turns. Catcher, you can just about kind of make out from the lip reading that he's saying, I did hear about that. There was some great big mechanical beast that fell in the Dragonmere. And you see them kind of giving each other furtive looks. They kind of look down to you. They seem like they're trying to kind of weigh you up, seeing if there's some sort of ploy going on here. And
just to say, I should have had advantage on that. So just in case of a crit, can I roll it deception again? Because I'm using my acting.
Yeah.
I mean, we won anyway, but a crit may be just like. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Carry on.
So, the two bubble dragons break up. You watch as this this one kind of wanders sort of like along the walls. You see him disappear, and he seems to just kind of vanish into the tower. A few the female dragon is still stood there watching you, and you hear a voice shout out from behind the wall, "Gate's opening!" And with a heavy thunk, and the sound of wood scraping on wood, the door opens and you see the purple dragon on the other side wheeling the door open.
Catcher looks back towards the woods to approximately where she knows everyone is, and she just focuses for a second and telepathically says to whoever is listening, "We'll find a way to get you in. Sit tight." Which again, she just...
My lord Marifat, after you, good sir. After all, this is your honour today.
Right, you are, minion.
I don't appreciate you called a minion, my lord, but very well. That is your will.
Okay. And Hiram and Badger, you watch Zumbo, Catcher, Balthazar with Slate as a passenger in spider form kind of disappear into the fort, and the gates are closed behind them. And in that fleeting moment, you are struck with, I can only assume, a bit of a "what now?"ism. And as the three of you kind of look to each other, you hear what do you hear? 16, and we've got 13. Okay, so Badger, with your passive perception, you hear the very almost imperceptible sound of a foot crushing a leaf somewhere behind you.
Ooh.
And as you turn, there is a figure whose face is concealed by a green cloak who says, "Interesting. Didn't expect to see you here." Inside the courtyard. Yes, the purple dragon kind of shows you in and says, "It's not very often that you see a blue dragon so far from the coast. Was it Lord Marifet? Was it? Sorry."
Well, just captain for now, but I'm open to Lord in the future.
Ah, I see. Looks like you've seen a bit of action, Captain Marifat. Judging by the state of you, we'll get you cleaned up. we have modest amenities, but we'll take good care of you. Don't mind the mess. We having a bit of a tidy up. If you follow me, please, it says, and he kind of heads under through a hole in the wall into kind of the main camp proper. You notice there are a lot of tents. You notice there are not enough soldiers that you can see to fill these tents. And as you kind of walk through the courtyard, you notice that this group of purple dragons you're passing here, they are also wearing the purple tabards like the other purple dragons, but these are distinctly tabards with a red stripe across the stomach, across the midriff. And it would appear that the tabards of the separatists. And yeah, the purple dragon leading you turns and says, "Yeah, it's certainly been a long and hardy fight that we've found ourselves in. So it's always good to have anything that could tip the balance, so to speak. I have to ask, Captain Marifat, have you been to Suzail recently, or?"
Nah, my duties have kept me elsewhere, but What's the situation?
Well, the most tragic thing, Captain Marifat. Queen. It would seem that the Queen has been wrongfully disposed from the throne, and we've been fighting to try and get her reinstated, but the pretender king has the power of Suzail behind him. It's been a terrible affair, I must admit.
Yeah, terrible. That's why I'm here. That's why me and my companions are here to help see the Queen back on her feet, back on her throne.
He nods. We need all the help we can get to help us defeat those would-be, those traitors. They call themselves loyalists, but nothing could be further from the truth, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, if you just follow me, I'll you can have a word with our leader. And as you go to approach the tower, you hear from sort of like the courtyard you were just in, open the gates! And the purple dragon you're with stops and kind of looks around curiously. Nothing to do with you, is it? He says.
No. Sure as hell hope not.
You expecting friends? Or should we be worried?
The purple dragon kind of looks to you. You notice that the other purple dragons are looking a lot more alarmed and alert than they were when you passed. In so much that the Tellsword, who's amongst this group next to you, kind of draws a sword and turns to look. From where you are, you just about hear the sounds of the doors scraping, and you hear some kind of commotion coming from behind you. And looking over your shoulder, you see sorry, begging pardon. Click, click, click. Yeah, you hear some chatting as Hiram, Badger, and Emily are escorted into the same courtyard as you, surrounded by a number of female archers in green cloaks. And Catcher, you recognize them as the women in the woods. And Hiram, Badger, and Emily to skip back a few minutes, this female voice from behind you says, "Didn't expect to see you here." And as you turn, one of the women of the woods pulls her hood back, and you recognize her as one of those who you met somewhere else in the King's Forest not too long ago, when you were on the heels of the Silver Swords trying to rescue them from the High Hunt. The ranger raises an eyebrow and she sort of brushes the brunette hair out of her face and says, "Normally I would be happy to see such capable adventurers as you, but it always seems like trouble follows you. Why are you lurking around our fort?"
You're waiting for our friends to let us know what our potential welcome would be in the fortress.
Mm-hmm. And do you normally expect a warm welcome when you're hiding in bushes out of sight?
It's a long story. We do not mean any harm for anyone. We just don't want to come to harm, if it can be avoided.
I see, she says. And yeah, the ranger kind of looks to you, Badger, and she just kind of smiles, and I hope that you're here, or your business is good for us, and there's not going to be any problems.
Are you with the purple dragons in that fort?
The woman kind of looks up, and she kind of pulls a meh face, and between you and I, Badra, I would say that the dragons really are with us. Come on, they're homeless and harmless. It's much more polite to be inside the keep rather than hiding outside, don't you think? Sorry, say that again.
I suppose so.
If they are leading us into the fort, Hiram is going to lean closer and quietly say to the one closest, like, in that case, if anyone seems a bit agitated, can we make sure that my squire doesn't die? She had a very traumatic experience lately. It would be nice not to add on to it.
The three rangers kind of look at each other, and there's clear kind of shock on their faces, and like you catch one of them giving you a bit of a look, before they say, well, absolutely. As soon as they know who you are, these soldiers will be more than happy to see you.
They will?
Well,
Are we sure about that?
You know what we did, right?
Well,
the Rangers look to you, and well, we'll talk about that inside.
Okay.
And yeah, as they say that, and they lead you through the courtyards, and before long you catch up with the rest of the Warhounds who are stood outside this tower, with a purple dragon. You see a number of soldiers kind of with their swords drawn looking at you, and the women of the woods just kind of wave their hands away, and like wave their hands at the soldiers, and like the soldiers kind of slowly, cautiously sheath their weapons again. And yeah, as you approach, one of the rangers turns to you, Hiram, and says, "Oh, you've got some new faces, I see."
yeah, we have 2 new recruits. We can introduce you later if you like.
Well, I suppose Magnus isn't going to be among your number anymore, is he?
No, unfortunately, no.
Catch a pulls off the wig. So was this all for nothing then?
Looks like.
The purple dragon like makes a little shock noise as you pull this black wig off, and like as he looks at you, and you see his eyebrows kind of wobbling a little bit as he's trying to contemplate what's happened. There's this sudden kind of look on his face. Detect thoughts is probably worn off by now, but yeah. But the look on his face, you just kind of see him. Like the look says, "Oh no, I balls this one up, didn't I? I've let a disguised stranger into this fort." And yeah, the rangers kind of approach the rest of you, kind of looking to you all. One of them kind of raises a hand to you, Catcher. Another stands next to you, Balthazar, and kind of looks you up and down.
I look at her and I don't say a thing.
And yeah, she kind of glances to Hiram and Badger with a look of, is he with you? Okay. Yeah, these rangers who clearly favour stealth, pull a bit of a face, and they say to the dragon, we'll take it from here. The bashful purple dragon blade just kind of slinks away without much encouragement and just kind of disappears off into the distance, leaving you stood in front of this tower, this kind of ruined main tower keep. The rangers feed off from around you and go to head inside, and as you kind of head up the weather-worn steps into this old keep, you see that the room is filled with supply crates, food crates, just barrels and containers of all shapes and sizes. In the center of the room, is a damp-looking round table, upon which sits a map of Cormyr, like the heartland of Cormyr, over which hangs a rusted kind of chandelier that has no candles and just seems to be, a relic of when this place was in active use. There is a tell sword, a purple dragon tell sword, with both hands on the table, kind of studying the map. And as you feed in to the tower and kind of spread out, as you move around the shape of the tell sword, on the other side of the table is an older, dark-skinned woman with her dreadlocked hair kind of tied up in a bun on the top of her head. And you recognize her as Agatha Fish, the leader of the Women of the Woods, who was posted at the mansion that you visited not too long ago.
Would Zumbo have heard anything about the Women of the Woods?
You haven't got the clue.
I haven't got a clue what's going on. All right, no worries.
No, and neither would you, Balthazar, to be fair. And Agatha looks up, looks at you all, and I'll be honest. I was wondering when you lot would show your faces.
We're nothing if not predictable, it seems.
Julia, you're muted.
I am?
Oh, now you're not.
Ah, okay, I just said hello.
Well, it's almost habit for the Warhounds to be drawn to conflict like moths to a flame. So I'm glad that you're in my keep and not them daft pricks over in the Loyalist camp.
Well, yes, about that. We sort of wanted to talk about the situation that we find ourselves in.
You notice as you say that to her, you notice that this old woman, her posture isn't as strong as it looks like it was when you last saw her. Probably a few weeks back. I mean, she looked somewhat frail. She certainly didn't seem to have the same kind of vigor as the rest of the rangers that she was in command of. But it seems like the outdoor life isn't particularly agreeing with her as much. The bags under her eyes look heavy. Her shoulders seem a bit more slouched than normal. And her eyes look at you a bit more wearily than they once did. And she looks around to you, like she looks to you, Badger. She looks at those of you who she's met before. And like seeing you in the doorway, Hiram, she kind of, like an old nan, just kind of furrows her brow, kind of waves you in impatiently. Okay. You're making me feel cold, stood out there, she says. And then, before you get a chance to move in, she looks at you all. Well, spit it out. What have you got to tell me?
Sort of have bad news for you.
Oh, good. I was actually running out of bad news.
Just very quickly, you mentioned something that you're happy that we are here not with the camp of Loyalists. But the only camp we have found so far was of the Separatists.
The Loyalists, and she says, like, jabbing a finger at the map of Cormyr, like she's jabbing the King's Forest. Oh, they're spread out like a flock of Tressim. They're infuriating. They've got the support of the crown, haven't they? So they've taken up residence in all the towns and lodges and anywhere proper. And we're here, stuck with a bloody haunted keep.
Okay, just to be clear here, and Hiram is going to point at the map where we have found the map, where we have found the camp. He's going to point there, like, did you have a camp here?
She looks at where you're pointing. She looks you in the eyes. Her gaze looks across to the tellsword you're stood next to. And then under her breath, she swears. I'm assuming we used to have a camp there.
You assume right.
How many?
I don't remember,
6 or
guys.
7?
Yeah.
All of them?
So she hears 4, 6 or 7? All of them.
However many you had, that's how many you don't got.
And yeah, she closes her eyes. She rubs her face with this kind of dirty leather glove that she's wearing. She pinches the top of her nose, like the bridge of her nose, and the sooner we get that fat bastard off the throne, the better. She says.
Yeah, about that.
Oh, we know, she says, looking to you all.
Which part do you know? Because I had a point.
We know that you've allowed Raedra to pursue her other hobbies.
Right. Do you know why they have let that happen? Did that circulate the rumor mill, or not yet?
She kind of gnashes on her back teeth a bit, and yes. Yeah, we not all we know. Not everyone got that message, but we know. I won't give you any grief. I know a hard choice when I see one.
That's not what... First of all, thank you for understanding. But it's more, I understand that this is not ideal, but at the same time, it's still better than all out war with Zamberholm. Which is what we want to avoid at all costs. Aren't we?
She kind of crosses her arms and... I know, she says. Doesn't mean I don't miss my bed.
Okay, so now that we are all on the same page, how can we help?
And she kind of looks a bit surprised as you say that. And first off, who's the mountain man over there? She says, gesturing her head towards Balthazar.
Balthazar doesn't speak.
He is shy.
Sorry. Hiram said he's shy, and Katya said
it's an automation we picked up.
She
Looks
nods.
to Hiram just like.
And then Agatha turns her face to you, Zumbo, and she just kind of looks you up and down, and that coat looks nice. One previous owner?
Yeah, just the one.
Oh, I see. She turns to look to you. She turns to you, Badrin. Ever since Magnus left, you really have gone downhill, haven't you?
Oi.
She kind of tutters to herself as she sits, like pulls, like hobbles back a little bit and plonks herself down on a crate. If you're offering help, I'm more than happy to accept it, she says. But you've got to appreciate that we're in a pretty sticky mess here. We're undersupplied. We're lacking in numbers. And we're running out of places to hide. How, I mean, you know the king, the king's men mean business. They chased us out of our mansion. And all we did was we used to support the queen. That was our crime.
Agatha,
Yes.
why are the local people referring to you as bandits?
Because it's easier to kill a bandit than it is to kill a purple dragon. Rests lighter on the soul, apparently.
An insight check on that one. I'm pretty sure she's telling the truth, but it's just one of those, we've been sent out here to hunt bandits. It can't be for any particular reason. I mean, Catch is pretty sure she's telling the truth, but still. 21.
21, okay. So, in the grand scheme of things, like, her words ring true. Civil war is always awkward when someone is told to kill their fellow country men and women. So yeah, that much rings true. The look on her face says that perhaps these Raedrans have had to do some less than savoury things to get by, though. And you notice, looking around, that some of the crates and barrels in this room have kind of stamps from breweries and businesses from the local villages. And they all seem to contain food, mostly.
Balthazar will whisper to Hiram and go, Can you ask them why they're here? What they're trying to achieve?
Speak up, boy! I assume you couldn't talk.
Does she hear Balthazar?
Well, she can see you. It's Hiram's ear.
Yeah, Magnus. Not Magnus. Balthazar will just stand up straight and look at the floor and not say a thing.
And
he wants to know why you are here and what you want to achieve. And just, Balthazar, they helped us before. They are friendly. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. If you're not, if you're uncomfortable. I'm just saying, they are trustworthy.
Balthazar will nod and stay quiet.
Good. As I said, that was his question.
When the royal edict came out of Suzail that those who were loyal to Raedra were to be hunted down like dogs, a lot of the soldiers from Suzail fled north into the King's Forest. Some of them didn't make it to the forests, but those that did scattered out as best they could. The men and women that you see here, clearly they'd heard of us, because a group of them arrived at the mansion seeking our help. They'd heard that we were big supporters of Raedra, the warrior queen. But I'm sure you can appreciate how subtle a group of heavily armoured soldiers running through a forest is. And before long, the Loyalists were on their tail. Chased us out. Lost quite a few good women in the rear guards trying to get away. We managed to lose the majority of the Loyalists, and we've wound up here. Some of the locals believe that this place is haunted, and that's good enough for me to keep them away. Only the most foolhardy or stupid come knocking on our doors now, she says, looking at you all with a smirk. So they've come to me for help, so I guess I've got to give it to them.
I'll let Balthazar go first before I say anything.
Yeah, Balthazar will whisper again to Hiram's ear and go, "Wait, can you ask them if they know anything about what killed their men, their troop? Because it wasn't the other purple dragons; it was something else."
Oh, you have a point. Do you know, apart from the Loyalist, who would try to kill your men? Because it wasn't them, and it wasn't the owlbears we have found in the camp.
Agatha pulls face. Well, I kind of assumed that it would have been the Loyalists, but I mean, surely you would have a better idea than me. But I mean, now that there's a bounty on the so-called Raedrans, could be anyone, I guess.
I mean, that's the thing. If it wasn't, it didn't seem like the Loyalists because they thought it was us, and they offered the bounty to us. Which means whoever did it wasn't there for it for the bounty.
As you say that, like, she looks to you and, did you accept the bounty?
No.
You twit. That was easy money.
Yeah, no, it's...
Well, if you've got any spare tabards, we can go back and get it.
She laughs and I don't know. I look at you and something makes me think that perhaps you're not quite purple dragon material, son.
Well, you got that right.
Well, in which case, you got me stumped. I mean, I wish I could say that I'm surprised that people are going through this forest, killing those who are loyal to the rightful queen, but yeah, I'm afraid I've heard that story one too many times over the past short while.
Agatha,
Yes, little one.
I think it's clear that we want to help you, but I do need to sort of say, I think one caveat that we probably have is, as she points to one of the barrels, that's a 5 gold barrel of bitter black. I'm sure you didn't buy that on your own. Don't become what they're trying to make you. If we help you, you have to be better.
She looks at you, and there's like a flicker of anger that kind of ripples across her face for a moment, and then like she catches herself and like looks down at the ground, and she looks to you and nods. Well, you're right. She thinks about it and, well, if you are offering help, then maybe we can put you to some good use. And then she says, she pats the barrel of 5 gold bitter black, and maybe we won't have to become what they think we are.
Agatha, I need you to help us understand something. We made the decision we made in order to avert a war.
Yes, dear.
In order to save lives, but now as a consequence, we're at war anyway with ourselves. There must be a good and important reason why you remain loyal to Raedran despite the cost, despite what it's making you do. What is it?
You've got to remember, little gnome, I've seen my fair share of kings and queens sitting on the throne of Cormyr. Raedran was the one that delivered us from the Shadow Wars. She was the one that tried to rebuild this country as best she could. She put her country ahead of herself. And I can't remember the last time a monarch of Cormyr did that. To see her dethroned by her cousin, and I appreciate he had some help. That's one thing. But to hear the sort of things that he's saying now, he's no good. He's gonna bring the kingdom of Cormyr crashing down on his head first, and then ours.
How can you be so sure?
She looks to you. Call it intuition. Nothing good comes from power grabs like that. Like I say, dear, I'm old. And as long as I've known his name, I've known that old Ezerad Bold Triobiskir has been lusting for that throne. And he's had it delivered to him on a plate. A silver plate. She shrugs, and you weren't to know. You're not even from here.
Could you just give us 1 second?
Of course.
Team huddle?
Team huddle.
And when you're done,
Yeah.
I've got some job propositions for you. You know, to start making amends for your egregious mistakes.
Just give us a second.
Sure.
And
Balthazar will
Right.
lead into the team huddle.
So, I know I said we will help, but now I'm realizing, like, I would like to because I owe them. My family owes them. However, if anyone else is not comfortable with it, we do not have to take jobs. There are other ways we can help them. It will not get us as a group is involved. What's the consensus?
If we can stop them from thieving without having to remove them as a problem, we obviously complete our contract with the very lovely pit fiend from the tavern.
Yeah, I mean, are we gonna charge these lot for our services? I mean, I guess that's what you lot would normally do as a group of adventurers.
Normally, yes. But I think anything that we do for them would be before basically just for goodwill.
Right,
Do
right.
you think Tarkalon will be angry with us if we don't complete the mission? I'm just worried he'll appear at night and then just blast us.
No, his
Honestly,
criteria is that we stop the bandits, and if we just stop them from stealing, fundamentally that's us completing the contract. Which is why I'm telling her she needs to find a better way. If we can stop the bandits in the area, that's that done.
Or we report back to Tarkalon that there are no bandits and it's a lot more complicated than the person who handed out the job thought.
We could tell the scary pit fiend that, yes?
I'll tell him.
So, we need to turn the regions into farmers, is what we're saying.
I mean,
Yeah,
we could try. I think that will take time.
Right, okay.
My concern. I mean,
Tarkalon did seem to emphasise the word permanently quite a lot.
Alright. Well, let's see what they want. Maybe that will help us forward.
I don't know.
So you hear like a coughing, like a clearing throat coming from behind you, kind of summoning you out of your team huddle. And Agatha looks to the group of you, and then she casts her eyes down to the map, and she picks up 2 kind of smooth pebbles, like smooth stones that are kind of lying off to the side, and she plonks 2 of them bonk, bonk, on this map, like on the King's Forest. And she says, the thing that we need most are supplies, she says, looking at you, Katja, and soldiers. The vast majority of the common... So, in terms of supplies, we actually had a crate, well, a shipment from some sympathizers that was due to arrive a few days ago. Unfortunately, as things tend to do in times like these, that supply shipment went missing. It was last known to be here, she says, pointing at one of the pebbles, a little to the north of your current location. So we'd appreciate it if you could stick your noses around that area, see what turns up. It's a bit too far afield for us to go. If we were discovered, then we wouldn't really have anywhere safe to make it back to. The alternative is numbers. A lot of the common folk around here, those who aren't sympathetic to our cause, have already been brainwashed by Ezered's call for bounties. So we have to look a bit more. We have to look a bit more afield for new recruits. I've heard news that there are some mercenaries that are currently holed up in Deadluke, not too far from here, she says, and she points to the second pebble, which is up the path towards the kind of west, towards the centre of the King's Forest. Given you lot share a profession, perhaps you might be able to put in a good word for the old Raedran separatists to these mercenaries, and see if our meagre supplies of gold will be enough to entice them to join us. Deadluke's lovely this time of year. I suspect they'll be hanging out at the Blushing Maiden Inn.
Okay.
And she shrugs. Don't really know what else to tell you. You know. Times are hard.
Yeah. Nice and straightforward. Okay.
So, Dan, what were the 2 jobs? There was recruiting the mercenaries, and what was the first one?
Finding supplies.
Finding the lost supplies.
Okay.
So the supplies basically are to the north, and the new recruits are basically to the west.
I mean, personally, I think the supplies sound a bit more attainable.
Yeah, sounds easier. Mercenaries can be a bit of a coin toss.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll tell you what, let's go top to bottom. Balthazar, which job sounds more up Balthazar's alley?
Oh, mercenaries are scary. I prefer supplies.
It's supplies. Badger.
Badger was up for the mercenary job, but is happy to go with supplies if that's the prevailing thought.
Okay. Katya?
Supplies.
Okay. Hiram? I had to think about that.
Supplies.
Okay. And Zombo?
Yeah, supplies.
Okay. In which case, yeah, as
Badger leaves the group.
Oh no!
That's what happens in this event.
goes to pick up the mercs on her own. Yeah. So as you all kind of come to a decision, reach down. What's going on?
I said it makes the most sense if we get them supplies, they'll stop thieving, which means again banditry in the area is dealt with.
And also, we can offer the supplies to the mercenaries if the gold's a bit lacking.
Yeah, we are probably not going to do that.
Okay, so Agatha looks down, and as you make your decision, she picks up the northern stone and throws it to you, as if it's some sort of token of acceptance. And yeah, she looks at you. She tilts her head and kind of raises an eyebrow, and yeah, she marks down on the map that you've got, like roughly where it is. She explains to Slate, who is in spider form. She explains to Slate where it is, and you kind of have the appropriate directions. And yeah, sort of like as she finishes, she looks to you, and there's this kind of briefest tired smile that spreads across her face as she says, I knew you lot were good uns, she says. And she can't, as she waves you off, try not to get yourselves killed, okay? You're too useful for that. And yeah, as as you're shown out the tower, you watch as she slowly kind of rises off the box that she's been sitting on. She's kind of holding the small of her back, and you see her kind of limping over to one of the doors at the back of the room, opening it and disappearing through, with a look of kind of grimaced pain on her face.
Does anyone else get feeling that we are being guilted, like really, really hard? Look at your life. Look at your choices.
Did she get injured in the fight?
I think she's just hella old, Balthazar.
No.
And with that, let's have a 10-minute break.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
In a bit.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
So, you have successfully navigated your way into Fort Lymira, and met the leader of the local Raedran resistance forces, Agatha Fish, the leader of the Women of the Woods that you met a couple of weeks back, when you were all chasing after the Silver Swords, who had been kidnapped from Arabelle by Garabrail. Simple as that. You have agreed to help the resistance out by doing some jobs for them. The first of which is to locate and bring back some supplies that were due to arrive at the fort a few days back, but unfortunately never arrived. So as you make your way from the fort, with the directions that were given to you on the map, you head roughly north up through the King's Forest. Again, because you're quite central, the route is, the progress is somewhat slow, but it will be difficult to be detected this far in. It starts to become a bit difficult to tell what time of day it is, because the coverage overhead is so thick. But the journey itself takes probably a couple of hours. And what sort of, are there any conversations that are going on as you go?
Yes, Hiram would like to have a chat with Badger, if he can.
Mm-hmm.
Because, first walk up to her, leaving Emily in the company of Katya, and say, Badger, do you have a second?
Of course.
Yeah, I just realized we didn't really have time to talk with, everything going on.
Mm.
And it's just, during the whole Raedra thing, the new king, did you think that the colonel was trying to push for this situation from the get-go?
I don't know if this is specifically what he had in mind, but he certainly seemed to want to sow discontent within Cormyr, yes. But he'd have to be a complete mastermind to realize that this is what would happen. I think it's much more likely that Ezered was waiting for an opportunity anyway.
I mean, Ezered, yes. I'm thinking Ilsavel. Because if you remember, well, she did seem surprised by the double Gabriel, like all of us were. I don't know, there was just something about the way they talked to each other. It just struck me as odd.
You picked up on it too, did you?
Yeah.
They've definitely banged. I didn't want to say anything, but it's really quite clear to me. They have a history.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Oh,
But I'm
neither.
gonna trust her instincts on that because mine are a bit non-existent. But
I've seen the way elves look at each other.
oh, thank you for that image, by the way. I didn't need that, but on the other hand, it would explain a couple of things. Oh my god, you might be onto something there.
If you're suggesting that Ilsavel was in on it, who knows? Perhaps. But I agree with you. I think she was very surprised at there being two Garabrails, and you probably know already. Elves are, particularly high elves. They're haughty. They demand respect, and particularly a coronal like Ilsavel. I mean, I think that the way it played out is pretty much the way it was going to play out. If you put basically the queen in a box, she's not going to be very happy. I've seen her threaten war over less.
I'm just going to step in, Badger. If you make a quick retroactive insight check.
And confirm that they did bang.
17. Bang confirmed.
I mean, as a citizen of Semberholm, you would also have known that the general feel of the population is that, don't forget, Cormyr abandoned us.
Yes. Yes.
Like, they pulled out of the war before it was finished, and we lost Mithranor for it.
Yes, I relay that to Hiram and say, never underestimate the grudge that Semberholm holds towards Cormyr for that.
Yeah, that is hard to forget, I have to say. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just really concerned that there is something else we are missing. Because if there was a conspiracy to, remove the queen and get a king instead, but Gabriel was a wild card that no one could see, that I'm wondering what else we are missing.
I'm just going to interject again for a history check for both of you.
Uh-huh.
God.
No, it's only a 6 for me.
10.
Okay. Well, I mean, here I am between the two of you. When you say, like, something we missed, like, your mind does flash back to the memory. Like, as you say it, your mind flashes back, and suddenly your nostrils sting with the smell of smoke. Your eyes are watering. The heat blisters your skin. Your breathing becomes hard and laboured. You look across and you can see Gabriel face down in the burning dirt of Warhounds, and you hear the sound of his head peeling apart. Brain-like creature pulling itself free from the back of the elf's head. And as you remember that brain-like creature, you feel the weight of what you're holding in your arms, and as you look down, Badger's looking at you with a bit of a puzzled face.
Hiram,
Yeah.
And you remember in that moment, from everything you know of Semberholm, you don't tend to have brain creatures.
Yeah, that is exactly my worry, Dan. But yeah,
you went away for a moment there, Hiram. Are you okay?
I'm sure I really need to talk to Emily. I don't want to, but I really need to at one point sit there and talk to her about what happened, and I am dreading every goddamn second of it. I have to send her away. I have to send her home.
Yes?
She died, Badger. I can't do it again.
I know, Hiram. And Badger sort of reaches, I guess, out for Hiram's leg and sort of pats it gently and
Gentle
understandingly.
pat on the bum.
on the hip. I know, Hiram. I know, it's horrible.
Oh, she's going to hate me.
Maybe, but it is for the best. One day she'll understand.
Yeah. I mean, I would just take it if she's alive to understand. Or not understand.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. Brain creatures and civil war and... What is our life?
It's a puzzle, but we are on the road to finding out more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
On the other side of the group, like Catcher's kind of up ahead, teaching Emily songs with risky lyrics about nobility. And Balthazar and Zumbo, you find yourselves kind of walking side by side. And you can't help but overhear snippets of the conversation between that Hiram chap and that Badger, the monk, the one with the pink hair. And like, yeah, you overhear enough of the conversation to kind of figure out what was going on. And like realizing that the two of you have only really got each other to talk to right now because Slate's disappeared into your armor somewhere. Balthazar.
Itchy. Itchy. Oh.
What do you two make of what's just been said?
Well, that doesn't bode well for us, does it? If some of them have died already.
Right, maybe, but they brought them back alive, right? That counts as something.
Yeah, but would they do that for us? We're pretty new.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how that would work for me anyways.
Yeah. How would that work? I mean, I don't want to be rude, but are you alive?
Well, I don't breathe. I don't really eat. I don't really drink. But I do think that maybe I am alive.
What's the first thing you remember? If you don't mind me asking, and tell me to buzz off if I'm being nosy.
I opened my eyes, and there were two goblins looking at me, and they were talking about the experiment and something going wrong. And then they told me a bunch of things. Oh, I'm doing a roll. And then and then they whisked me off to see you guys. I'll do that roll now, Dan.
Yeah, if you roll me a history check, and if you want, you can try and remember further back.
Plus 1d4, d6.
Wow.
Holy moly!
What is that? A 19 roll here.
Okay, so Balthazar, as you retell your first memory of waking up and looking at the creatures that you've just misidentified as goblins,
Oh, right.
you stop and because that's the memory that comes to mind. But then you can feel like there's something else, and as you try and focus a little harder, you have a memory. You're in this like little cottage. It feels quite homely. You look out the window and you can see some rolling fields. And as you look down, there is a cake, a homemade cake in front of you with 9 candles in it. And as you look up, you can see faces that you feel like you should remember, but their features aren't quite clear. But you feel like that's weird. You feel like they're family, maybe. And you look back at the cake, and as the words "I can't breathe" ring through your mind, you take a deep breath and blow the candles out.
And Balthazar will dress Zumbo. That's what I remember. And what about you? How long were you your captain for?
Oh, well, a fair few years. I got my start with the Blue Dragons, but I wasn't a captain then. I had to work my way up and got my own ship, and was independent for a little while, and then one thing or another, I bumped into these lot just before you did. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I think you missed the arrangement where I agreed to take these lot on as my sort of trainee crew, if you like, and show them the ropes, and I'd follow them around for a bit on their adventuring jobs and see if they've got the stuff to really cut it with me, if you see what I mean. And well, I think you missed all that. So I was wondering, what kind of job do you think you could fill in the crew? I mean, you'd make a cracking lifeboat, lad, if that's of any interest to you.
I'm not really sure yet what I do. Lifeboat might be it for now. What are you going to do with us?
We'll get back onto the Sea of Fallen Stars as soon as we can and start making a name for ourselves again. I've got a reputation to uphold, and it don't look too good if I'm gone for too long. People start whispering that the seas are safe and you can start sailing freely without being pillaged. It doesn't look good. It's not good for a chap's reputation.
Oh, piracy.
Well, it's an ugly word, lad, but yeah, basically.
That must be fun.
Yeah, it's nothing like it. You'd be great. You'd be great. The way you took on that tentacle, you're a natural.
Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah, but lifeboat for now, and we'll see how you get on, eh?
Okay. Yeah, we'll
and
try.
if we come to any water, we'll see how well you float, because be good to test that out. I think before we actually need you to be a lifeboat.
Well, I don't think I can drown, so that's pretty useful.
It's not you I'm worried about, lad.
And I think they'll continue exchanging stories, with Balthazar pestering the captain for more stories.
Okay. Well, okay, so in which case, at the front of the group, Katja, as you just kind of come around to finishing teaching Emily another song about the nocturnal activities of the Daunting Horn, the Daunting Horns, and as you kind of glance up, you notice that in a tree up ahead, there are a number of short, almost kind of like shoddily made arrows sticking out of a tree up ahead. And as you look around, you can see that there just seems to be a lot of kind of disturbance in this part of the woods around you. And as Katja, as you stop and everyone kind of stops behind her, looking at the map, you realise that you've reached the last known location of the supplies.
weren't hiding them very well, were they? I mean, arrows all pointing inward. But this is the location, as per the map.
So, to look at it, I mean, it's just a deep-ish part of the woods. There seems to, you're away off the beaten track. It's clear that the Raedrans didn't want to have this supply caravan going along established, safe trade routes. So they, in inverted commas, gone cross-country. But yeah, as you look around, I mean, you'll all notice that, there's quite a lot of like dirt kicked up. You can see a number of arrows just kind of slammed into, like pinned into trees from kind of all angles.
Sorry, I
There's a
thought
lot
when
of...
you said arrows, it was literally like.
Oh right, no.
I thought literally big arrows pointing towards one. So I was like,
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Like
not stolen.
flashing gun balls.
Free
Okay, I get it.
supplies here. There are a number of bow arrows kind of jutting out of trees from all kind of angles. So yeah, it's clear that there was clearly an attack in this area. Hiram, what do you do?
I mean, can we look around?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Signs of struggle.
Okay, so struggle. Badger, what are you looking for? Or doing?
I guess maybe. So there's no sign of the supplies immediately around us.
No.
Would there be any benefit to me climbing a tree and doing my treetop scout thing again, just to see if I can see anything in the surrounding area, like from up high, that's not obvious from the ground?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can climb up. So you're climbing a tree.
Yep.
What's Catcher doing?
Catcher's going to let Drool sniff around.
Sniff around?
See if
Okay.
his big nose can pick up anything.
Yep, no worries. Balthazar?
Balthazar will do perception check on the cargo or on the arrows.
Okay. And last but not least, Zumbo?
Yeah, I think Zumbo would be studying the arrows to see if he recognises them as like purple dragon issue, or I've probably been chased by a volley or two of those, so might recognise them.
Okie dokie. So, we've got... so, first off, Drool, if we can have a perception check, as well as Zumbo and Balthazar. Sorry, what was Hiram doing again? Checking for sign of conflict.
Yep.
Okay. So, tell you what, these three will do a perception check. Hiram, because you're looking specifically for struggle, let's go with an investigation.
Oh wow, Matt, that's...
Oh my god!
Oh,
Yes.
look at us go.
Okay, good
19.
perception checks. My god. Good
Badger.
investigation.
We'll
Here we
go for an athletics. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who have I missed?
Oh, well,
Oh, no,
I
that's
mean,
it. That's
yeah,
it.
I mean, you could give Catcher one, but again, I think she's just holding on to Drool's collar, let him sniff around. So
Okay. Right. Well, I mean, in that case, Hiram, as you kind of go walking through the area, you can see that there are distinct kind of scuffed footprints. Clearly, where someone's a foot has come to a rapid stop, or like spun round. The movement portrayed by the footprints under that you're looking at really kind of imply that there was some sort of brief battle here. The movement is very, very erratic. Badger, as you climb up into the trees with your 14, you manage to kind of get high enough that with a bird's eye view, you can see pretty much where the battle arena was, if you will. But you can make out from your vantage point the tracks of the carts that were carrying these supplies arriving kind of coming in, there being some sort of battle, and then a lopsided set of cart tracks leading away from this site.
Okay.
Zumbo and Balthazar, blimey, yeah, with your crits of 25 and 27, as you look around at the arrows, these aren't very... they're certainly not Purple Dragon. These are, for all intents and purposes, are like sharp flint stones tethered to twigs and the like, and sort of like roughly plucked feathers and whatnot. You pull one out, and as you look at it, you both look to one another, and then simultaneously you say, "Goblins."
Kobolds.
Gnomes.
You both identify this arrow as a goblin arrow, and as you say that, Drool starts barking as he picks up a scent. And Badger, from your vantage point, you can see that Drool's basically sniffing at the start of where this cart leads away from the battle site.
Yeah. She's going to call down. The cart went off in the direction Drool's pointing.
Well, it looks like it was goblin work, so we best get after him before they eat everything.
Oh no. Guys, you don't think it's... Do you?
Couldn't be.
Oh God, no.
No, it's not in the King's Forest. It's not going to be them.
So, you...
I mean, just Zumbo, Balthazar, you haven't seen any what look like large explosions of air, have you?
What?
No.
Exploding air.
Okay,
No.
then. Most likely not then. I think we're
Is there anything you lot want to share before we get blown up in...
Very honest.
No, I'm sure it's fine. Badger
Yeah,
says as she climbs down.
Not what you think it is. You do not want to know.
It's fine. It's fine. You'll know if it's the thing we think it is.
Are we talking about flatulence?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
So yeah, with your array of gleaming skill check passes, you successfully kind of track the direction in which the cart was taken, by the looks of it, by goblins, and you're able to make good pace in that, in chase in the same direction. It's not that far. It's only about an additional half-hour journey from where you are before the trees start to thin out a little bit, kind of opening out as you kind of slope into this kind of valley, this kind of dip in the forest, and you see that a path becomes more and more noticeable, like less discreet. There seems to be a patch of forest that is more and more well used. It just kind of emerges from the wilderness. And as you go along, you also start to notice an increased amount of kind of scattered debris and trash that has just clearly been discarded. So broken bits of wood, like crate wood, and rusted metal, like weapons, just kind of thrown off into bushes and verges and the like. And before long, you can hear the sounds of... It sounds like a tribal kind of drumming off in the distance. And as you get a bit closer and the drumming gets louder, in this kind of... in this small kind of valley, you see a camp surrounded by a very crudely assembled wooden palisade. And looking down into it, you see what appears to be some sort of goblin camp, where the goblins are currently forming a circle around what appears to be a very large rock with a totem propped up against it, and they're all kind of waving their hands up and chanting, kind of hopping and dancing from one foot to the other. And behind them, from your vantage point, you can see a cart of supplies. Yeah, and these goblins, like they're not trying to be discreet or subtle in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, they are having some sort of. I mean, is it a party? Is it a ritual? You're not sure, but they're all dancing around this big grey lump.
You know,
Rock, like a big rock.
I think what we need is the ability to create a bomb and just gently let it just go into the middle and then blow it up.
So, what do you do?
Does our position on the map, is that how far away we are, or are we?
No, you are a bit further back. Yeah, you know, looking down, you're probably about 50 foot out. You can see that, you know, this is a relative. I mean, look, if someone said it was a goblin camp, everything that you imagine is basically what you're seeing. Kind of badly made animal fur tents, the animal hide tents, just piles of hay. You can see what looks to be a mushroom farm over to one side. You know, just piles of discarded rock and rubble just littered about. Some very hastily assembled looking spikes on the front gate to stop would-be intruders. It's clear that the totem, you notice one thing, is that what appear to be totems of some sort at the front of the camp appear to have been cast down, like smashed. And yeah, you notice that there are only the vast majority of the goblins are dancing around this edifice, and 2 goblins are standing guard at the front of the camp. But they're kind of looking over their shoulders to watch what's happening.
I'm assuming they're all chanting in Goblin, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you're listening in, it's less. When I say chanting, I mean they're effectively just making noises. Okay. It sounds like the other side of a football stadium.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's just nonsense, really.
Ululating.
Yes. Actually, truth be told, do any of you wish to listen in? Try to listen into the chanting.
Yeah.
Yes, Catcher will actually reach out and touch a mind of a goblin. And understand any spoken language that she can hear. The literal meaning of any spoken language she can hear.
Okay. So we don't need to do that because you'll pass it anyway. So if you 4 roll me a... Oh, sorry, beg my pardon, not a persuasion. If the 4 of you roll me a perception check.
I'd much rather do a persuasion if that's alright.
Then.
Oh, no, there we go.
Oh, 25.
Double crit.
Okay, so Balthazar, your maybe fight or flight starting to kick in a little bit. Hiram, it just sounds like a raucous noise. Badger and Zumbo, you can hear like a noise that seems to be getting repeated over and over again. And that noise is booyah, 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 booyah.
And
Catcher, as you hear them chanting booyah, booyah, you know that booyah means like it's difficult in terms of like a literal translation. It's somewhere between like great one, god, just like a symbol of reverence for the goblin community.
It's not.
They're
yeah. Oh, and they're chanting it at this rock.
Catcher sort of relays to them. It's like it seems like they're chanting to a god, a great one, some sort of hero, I suppose.
Zumbo, with your, because you rolled a nat 20 on your perception check, as you're looking at them, you can hear the goblins shouting booyah, 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 booyah. You see the rock shudder slightly. Like it moves ever so slightly.
Did anyone else see that? I don't think rocks are supposed to do that, are they?
What did it do?
Twitched. Went all funny for a bit. I'm pretty sure I'm sober.
So they're chanting to some hero or god in the rock?
Possibly.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's a great one. God is fundamentally what they're saying.
Maybe.
Do you reckon we could just trade them for our supplies before whatever's in that rock comes out? I mean...
Yeah. I think maybe the small ones should go up and talk to the ones on the gate. See if we can reason with them.
I could offer them Betty and see if they'll make a trade.
But we also don't want to end up as a sacrifice to Boya.
Now, we could say that we're, presenting our offering to Boya. And in return, could we please have our supplies back?
19 on stealth.
As you're discussing this, everyone make me a stealth check.
Oh no.
17.
I've got +7 on that as well.
Oh no.
Drool's one disappeared. I saw it flash and it vanished, so I don't know what Drool got.
That's fine. Okay, roll. Okay, so as a group, you roll a 13.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so 13. So as you're kind of discussing, you hear some kind of voices off to the side, and there is a group of goblins comes emerging out of some bushes, and they're kind of just chattering in goblin to one another. And as they're going along, you can see they're all kind of looking at the camp, this big kind of stone, this big rock in the middle of the camp, and they're like clapping excitedly. And you see some of them
goblin for an hour.
Okay, in which case, yeah, they're kind of going, come on, we don't want to be late, we have to, I can't wait to see the booyah, I'm so excited, And they're just kind of gibbering excitedly to one another. You can see one of them like jumping from foot to foot and clapping excitedly. And, another one's, one of the backs kind of dragging along what appears to be the bottom half of a deer, just for the feast, presumably. And as the group kind of goes past you, you hear one of the goblins say to the others, you go on ahead. And this goblin breaks away from the group and kind of starts walking towards you, and you all look up and watch as this goblin just kind of unloosens his loincloth strap and then just starts to do his business in the bush. And this goblin slowly looks up and sees Balthazar's shiny helmet staring back at him from the bush. And this goblin blinks a few times, and you just hear the sound of the goblin doing goblin things on the branches and on the leaves in front of you, and then he turns and sort of like runs.
Balthazar goes,
And as he spins and turns to run, the loincloth goes flying off, and this goblin runs off, bum cheeks clapping as it runs off into the distance to catch up with its friends.
Have the others heard it yet?
So the others stop to look and then notice their friend running towards them, as naked as the day he was born.
Okay, there's probably no point me trying to catch him then.
What do you do? The naked goblin is halfway between you and his presumably group of friends.
As he runs past, Zumbo just lifts up Betty and goes, "Booyah!" And presumably the goblin just ignores him and just keeps.
Yes, unfortunately. Anything else? Is anyone else doing anything while this goblin turns and flees?
I would imagine Emily will try to shoot it.
Hostilities have erupted already.
Not
Okay.
lethally, but somewhere in the kneecap
Just shoot this
region.
naked goblin in the back, sure.
Okay, so this,
In the pub.
so you all watch as this, this goblin's still weeing as he runs,
Oh, no.
and Emily just kind of rises up from the bush that she's hiding behind, and then you see her just sort of like very carefully, kind of get a good gauge, and then she just bang, like fires off this crossbow, and you watch as this bolt like disappears down, thunks into the back of this goblin, and the goblin hits the dirt and grinds a couple of feet with this bolt sticking out of his shoulder blade. And you just hear him go shouting, screaming in death cries.
Oh.
And Emily just kind of shakes her head and, "I'm getting rusty," she says. At the sound of the goblin screaming in pain, you notice that the camp has gone quiet.
Oh,
And as you
fun.
look, there are dozens of goblins looking up at you. And like in unison, they all point a finger up towards you and shout in unison, "Booyah! Booyah! Booyah!" What do you do?
Booyah!
Yeah, maybe we start cheering as well. Yeah. We pretend we're here for the festivities.
Yeah, we just start like dancing towards them. It's like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Actually, behind you playing as like a very broken song, like booyah, booyah.
as we pass the dead goblin, I kind of like pick him up and drape his arm around my shoulder and just like.
This is
Badger,
it.
help.
He's not
We're
dead.
We can
In
turn
that-
these in.
If he's not dead, Hiram is going to kind of pat on the shoulder and heal him a bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no,
He's fine. He's fine.
he's screaming as if he were about to die. He's not quite there yet. But yeah, you can certainly pick him up and give him some healing. And then he's just, because he's still got this bolt sticking out his shoulder. So he can't really lift his right arm. And, I'm assuming you're holding him at arm's length because, he's still very naked.
Well, I'm not picking him up.
Oh, right.
I'm
No,
just
no.
like, lean down, pat him on the
Zumbo and-
shoulder.
Zumbo and Badger have him. Like,
Yeah, we're
like,
dusting him
supporting
off,
him up
like-
at the side.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Trying to convince his mates that we've not just murdered him, that he's just tripped and he's all right.
Okay.
Okay. So, as you head down, you pick up this wounded goblin, and then with your collective cries, like chants of "booyah, booyah," I'm gonna need a persuasion check from you all.
Okay.
Can I?
Actually, sorry, I'm gonna
Is it
veto
not
that. I'm gonna
performance?
cancel that, and we're gonna go performance instead. Beg my pardon. Beg my
Cat is
pardon.
gonna.
I think this is
Help
going to be an
with both
appropriate
of them.
roll, as my charisma is not high, so that works out. Yes.
Oh
But
God.
Balthazar is crying while singing Booyah.
Badger's loving it. 19.
Yeah.
Hiram is incredibly confused with a 5.
So you've noticed that all the small people, Hiram, are now chanting "booyah, booyah," and as you kind of head down the hill with this wounded goblin with a crossbow bolt sticking out his shoulder blade, the group that this goblin was traveling in are looking at you, and like they're looking at each other confused because you're chanting "booyah, booyah, booyah," and in fact, Can you speak the language? No, you just comprehend them. Okay, yeah, you're saying "booyah, booyah," and they're looking at each other, and you watch as these goblins start smiling. And they look at you with wide eyes and rotten teeth as they "booyah, booyah, booyah," and before long you find yourself surrounded by this group of goblins that were heading down the hill, and they're all clapping and chanting "booyah, booyah." Balthazar, one of them's kind of banging on your the back plate, like a gong, bong bong boo yeah, as you go down. Hiram, you find yourselves like two goblins kind of grab your hands and try to sort of like skip with you as they're chanting booyah. And like all the goblins in the camp have seen this, and they all just kind of, as you get closer, they realise the booyah is still alive and well, and they all, hey! And they'll begin cheering and dancing, and the party continues. And you end up in the camp.
Okay,
You're not really sure how this has happened.
This is a terrible idea, Catcher says telepathically to everyone.
Yeah.
As we get close to the cart, do the supplies on it look carryable? If one was, if going backwards and forwards, doing a lot of trips, could someone do it by hand?
Probably not, no. The vast majority of the supplies are kind of in crates and large boxes and the like.
Alright, no worries.
And so, yeah, realistically, you're going to need the cart. But yeah, so as you're led into this camp, Hiram, you watch as kind of two of the goblins like kind of grab Emily's hands, and then they start jumping up and down with a boo yeah boo, and like Emily just kind of gets kind of pulled away from you as the rest of the goblins kind of pull you in front of the rock, and yeah, as you get closer, the sounds of the chanting get louder and louder, there are drums. Some of the goblins have found some drums, and they're boom boom boo yeah boo yeah. And as you get right up, the drums beat faster and faster and faster, and then with a final yeah, the chanting stops. And you find yourself standing kind of awkwardly in front of this rock, except it's at this point, like up close, you realise it's not a rock. It's like, it's a shape for sure, but this isn't stone. This is like a, like burlap sack and grey fabric, like something's. And a group of goblins kind of run up to the side of the rock, and you notice that on this rock there's these kind of glowing pink crystals jutting out of it. You can see that there are shiny stones and random coppers and silvers like at the foot of this rock, as almost as if it's been given as some sort of offering. And the goblins grab this kind of fabric, and as they pull on it, you watch as it gives way.
Yep.
As it gives way to,
I imagine if it's who I think is Catcher immediately.
what appears to be a 12-foot tall female goblin with glowing yellow and pink eyes, who looks somewhat concerned, a little bit scared, very confused. And as you look up, right up the nostrils, you realise, this is Jick. Jick the goblin.
Jick!
And one of the goblins looks at you and, not Jick! Booyah! And the goblins, hey! Booyah! 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 And Jick just this massive overgrowth, this huge goblin, who's, you realise now, has just been sat on a rock, and for some unbeknownst reason has been covered with some sort of like fabric tarp, just kind of sighs slightly. The totem pole that was propped up against the side, it's a staff that Jick was holding. You can see that she's been festooned with some sort of animal skull, and there's some feathers hanging off it. She looks very perturbed. You see her looking around at the goblins, who are all cheering, and kind of, some of them are now bowing, and sort of flapping their arms and smacking the ground in worship.
This is happening. Catcher explains to Balthazar over the noise, like, Jick is a goblin we saved once and twice now, and she seems to be, I would say, a friend of ours. But she has magic powers.
Balthazar is just terrified and like doesn't move, just stares at this giant figure.
So yeah, as Katja says, magic power, like the goblins around stop and and yeah, Jick looks to you, kind of lets out a sigh and help, she says. And the gathered goblins all in unison chant, help.
The claw.
And Jick looks around and, you come to worship Jick, she says.
Jick, it's Big Red.
She squints and, I remember Big Red. Hello. And she looks down. Big Red, very small.
Jick, big.
Jick is big. Jick, very big. What? Why Jick so big? And the goblins gather around and Jick is booyah! They cry back.
You appear to be their chosen one.
Has Jick a choo-choo?
Jick kind of bites on her bottom lip a bit nervously and looks around and Jick still sneeze. Yes. Make Jick make big bada boom.
What do you think, Katya? Do you think Jick sneezed and made herself big?
Time she sneezed, it was fundamentally a big spray of colour. So I think if I remember rightly, it's every time she sneezed, something weird happened. So maybe she sneezed herself big.
Maybe if we make her sneeze again, something else will happen and she won't be big anymore.
Or maybe she'll get even bigger.
Oh dear.
Or she turns into something new.
Oh no.
Or she glitters.
Maybe we can convince her to let us have the supplies? Because we're friends?
Jick looks around, like, as you're talking, you notice that Jick's just kind of like picking in one of her ears. It's almost like she's finding it difficult to focus on individual things. And then she looks at you and almost like the look on her face says that it's almost like she forgot that you were there. And then this I say little goblin, this huge 15-foot tall goblin, then says, last time you saw Jick, you saved Jick from Boss Brog. Where Jick came back and because no Boss Brog, they made Jick boss, and then Jick sneeze, and then Jick booyah.
Jick, do you want to stay big? Oh, that feels wrong somehow. Say it that way. This huge goblin just kind of looks around, and I mean, you just kind of get the feeling that the way that these goblins are just kind of looking at her with these kind of doughy eyes, it's clear, like, she just looks really, really uncomfortable. You kind of get the feeling, no, she doesn't really want to be the booyah anymore. She doesn't want to be big.
Iram, if I'm whispering this, if you can convince this big lass here to push that cart for us, we can get her out of here. Kind of a tit for tat arrangement. She looks big enough to just push it by herself.
The downside is she'll probably bring all the goblins with her.
I mean, technically that means we also bring back recruits.
Yeah, they weren't specific about the species the mercenaries had to be.
Oh my goodness.
So, Are you floating this idea to dear old Jick?
No.
Dear.
No, I really have a feeling that's not going to end well.
No,
Like-
but imagine. I'm sorry, I don't care. But imagine. Oh
No,
my
it's
god, it would be
amazing.
the
I love
best.
I love it as a plan.
I mean,
All for
we could
it.
always ask Betty to make her invisible, and she can push the cart away while we keep them distracted.
How do we? And Kat just sits there, just as she sort of says, "How do we distract them?" She's like, "Oh, I have a terrible idea."
What is it?
Well, I mean, I don't know how I'd get out afterwards, but I could keep them entertained for a little bit.
Oh, you can play and I'll dance, and Balthazar can do percussion.
Balthazar,
Actually-
whilst this has been happening, a goblin has still been banging on your back plate. Bong, 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 bong.
Hey, quit that! Stop!
Oh,
And-
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Balthazar will like knock him slightly with like the end of his staff. Hey, quit that!
As you kind of waggle your staff around, like, because this goblin's just kind of rapping on your back and booyahing, that just starts to seem to restart a wave of booyahs. As the goblins all start celebrating, you notice some of them kind of climbing onto the supply crate, and one of them, booyah, like lifts up this big sack above his head and starts like waving it above his head, you know, Star Wars sand person kind of way, and the goblin, so as it's dancing from side to side with this heavy sack on its over its head, as it skips to one foot, slips, and as this goblin goes tumbling off the side of the cart, the sack hits the one of the wooden struts that would connect it to a pack horse, and the sack splits open. And you watch as this fine light brown powder just kind of puffs out into the air.
Ah.
And Zumbo, you're closest to it, and like as you kind of get covered in this dust, you like your nose starts itching, and some of it goes in your mouth, and it tastes. Is that just a sack of white pepper?
Oh
As you-
no.
Oh no.
And you wonder why on earth there was a sack of white pepper in the supply crate. But like Jick, who's just still kind of picking her ear again, just looks up at you with this kind of dopey little smile, and you watch as this cloud of white pepper drifts over her nose,
Oh no.
and there's a little look of shock on her face, and then her eyes open, and you just watch as these nostrils flare as she involuntarily takes a big huff of white pepper.
Take cover!
You just watch like the goblin that tripped off the cart just kind of looks up. You see all the other goblins stop. Their booyahs just stop, and they're all frozen in place. And Jick is just kind of frozen for a moment, and then she. And like her face screws up, and it looks like she's about to sneeze, and then she and lets out this huge sneeze, and you see particles of green blow out of her nostrils. It knocks you lot back a good kind of 10-15 feet, as do the other goblins. They're blown back, and as it feels as if you've just been hit by some sort of gust, like wall of wind spell, as all the goblins are fired off in random directions. Some of them disappear, going over tents, some of them knocking over trough carts, and as you kind of pick yourselves up and survey the damage, you can see that there's just kind of sparkling green particles floating in front of you where Jick sneezed. And before your eyes, the particles begin to coalesce. And they begin to swirl into a shape and what appears to be a sentient cloud of sneeze rears itself up, and Jik looks to you and says, "Booyah!" And we shall end it there.
Ah.
Oh god. Is this a sentient booger, Dad? Is this actually what it is?
The booger is now Booyah.
Oh my god.
Booyah and booga.
And
my goodness.
everyone, congratulations on
Oh, dear
completing
Dan.
session 3.
Adorable. I love Jick.
Chick is always
Yeah.
MVP.
I'm
Jick
glad I
for
got to meet
queen.
her.
Hey, where's
Yeah.
the thing?
And now everyone's
Magnus-
got pizza now, so
Well, Magnus hates Jick. Does Balthazar like Jick? I'm not sure yet.
He might be a bit on the fence at the moment since he spent
What's the-
most of that encounter terrified.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll put a pin in it.
Why did Magnus hate Jick?
Magnus hates most things.
Okay, right.
Jick is against all
Jick-
sense of order and nature.
Chick is
see.
entirely my fault, isn't she?
Yes, but she's exactly what I like to do in D&D, which is find a random NPC that the DM had thought nothing of before and make it just central to all our hearts and lives.
I am still
Does-
waiting for the guard at the throne room fight to come back as a
God.
fully fledged NPC.
There
I'm waiting for him to have his key
she
moment.
is. There she
Kitty.
is. Hey, kitty.
Okay,
Good girl.
I think Daisy has decided that is the end of the session. Cool. Thank
Also,
you.
Dad, thank you so
Yeah.
much after us joking about Jig starting a cult for giving her a cult.
An actual cult. Yeah.
You are more than welcome. So yes, so thank you all for coming along. I guess I'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
See you
next
then.
week.
Do.
As bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Cormyr Echoes of War. Catch us next week to find out more on the plight of the Raedrans, as well as just how dangerous a goblin sneeze can be. If you like the video, make sure to click on the like button and let us know your favourite bits down in the comments below. If you really like the video and cannot wait until next week for more, you'll find another video down over here. Whether you like the video or not, consider subscribing to the Explorers of Elsewhere channel because you are an amazing person. Until next time, may the realms endure.